Turning to our top story this hour, historic climate talks involving more than 120 world leaders are underway in Glasgow. The Glasgow conference comes just days after the historic G20 Summit in Rome, where leaders from the 20 most powerful economies congregated to discuss crucial global issues like global health and economy. The COP26 is being touted as humanity's last chance to achieve the goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. In his opening remarks, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson urged the world leaders not to run down the doomsday clock. He added, "The longer we fail to act, the worse it gets, and the higher the price when we are eventually forced by catastrophe to act."
Humanity has long since run down the clock on climate change. It's 1 minute to midnight on that doomsday clock, and we need to act now. If we don't get serious about climate change today, it will be too late for our children to do so tomorrow.
Guterres called for decarbonisation of global economies and the phase-out of coal. In his opening remarks, Guterres said that the world leaders need maximum ambition to make this summit a success.
We are digging our own graves. Our planet is changing before our eyes, from the ocean depths to mountain tops, from melting glaciers to relentless extreme weather events. Sea level rise is double the rate it was 30 years ago. Oceans are hotter than ever and getting warmer faster. Parts of the Amazon rainforest now emit more carbon than they absorb. Recent climate action announcements might give the impression that we are on track to turn things around. This is an illusion.
The sternest warning of all came from celebrated naturalist David Attenborough. He told leaders at the summit that the stability that we all depend on is breaking. Attenborough added that the answer to climate crisis needed to be equitable, saying that those who have done the least to cause this problem are being hit the hardest.
We must fix our sights on keeping 1.5 degrees within reach. A new industrial revolution, powered by millions of sustainable innovations, is essential and is indeed already beginning. We will all share in the benefits: affordable clean energy, healthy air, and enough food to sustain us all. Nature is a key ally. Wherever we restore the wild, it will recapture carbon and help us bring back balance to our planet.
Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley pleaded the world leaders to take action. She said that limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius is essential for the existence of island nations like Barbados, and reaching 2 degrees would be a death sentence for all of them.
1.5 is what we need to survive. 2 degrees, yes, SG, is a death sentence for the people of Antigua and Barbuda, for the people of the Maldives, for the people of Dominica and Fiji, for the people of Kenya and Mozambique, and yes, for the people of Samoa and Barbados.
Pressure is now on governments to redouble their emissions-cutting commitments to bring them in line with the Paris goals. COP26 participants are going to review the progress they made on the 2015 Paris climate deal. Signatories had agreed to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. They hope to achieve this by limiting the use of fossil fuels. Several rich nations, meanwhile, have also vowed to set up a fund of $100 billion to help aid the developing nations in the fight against climate change. The success of the high-level summit has been dampened by a number of high-profile no-shows. Neither Chinese President Xi Jinping, who has not left his country during the COVID-19 pandemic, nor Russia's Vladimir Putin will be in Glasgow for the mega summit. Our correspondent Chris Jones is joining us live from Glasgow on this broadcast. Hello, Chris. Thank you for joining us. Now, the US President and the Indian Prime Minister made big announcements yesterday. While Biden focused on clean energy, Indian PM Modi has pledged net zero emissions by 2070. How are these goals being perceived?
Well, I think Joe Biden's promise to kind of go towards more clean energy can be kind of taken with a pinch of salt. It could be seen that Biden is really trying to revive the US's reputation on climate change as one of the world's biggest emitters of CO2. Activists hope that it's more than just words and they can really follow through with what they've promised. And Narendra Modi, as you mentioned, has gone towards net zero emissions by 2070. Now, some countries had hoped for something a little bit more ambitious. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, had hoped for a little bit more ambition and hoped that they'd gone towards a 2060 goal. But Narendra Modi has set out a plan that he believes India can realistically meet. And Boris Johnson has said the UK will do all it can to help meet those goals.
Now, a huge takeaway has been world leaders committing to ending and reversing deforestation and land degradation by 2030. Is this realistic, and what are climate activists saying?
Well, in terms of whether this is realistic, it's very much remains to be seen, but we are expecting that announcement today, that $19.2 billion towards ending deforestation by 2030. And this is money that's going to come from private and public funds. Now, activists hope that this, again, is more than just words and that action can be taken. But we've seen things like this promised in the past. In 2014, we saw a similar deal, and that didn't do much to slow down deforestation. So hopefully this plan can come through and really go towards helping reduce the levels of CO2 in the atmosphere and help to avert a climate catastrophe.
And there's been criticism of the G20 summit for not setting ambitious targets. Is there a fear that COP26 may not deliver on promises?
Well, it's very much the image that events like this can be seen as kind of headline grabbers to get countries and administrations into positive national and domestic press. Now, what we've seen at this summit so far is the world leaders talking about what they want to do, and we've seen a lot of emotive language. I think you played a clip earlier from Antonio Guterres saying that we're digging our own graves. Now, climate activists have been kind of happy to hear this kind of language and hope that world leaders are really starting to take the situation seriously. If not, it's maybe too late to end what activists are calling a climate catastrophe and the end to generations' futures as the years go by.
Thank you, Chris Jones, for your insights there and for joining us live from COP26 in Glasgow. We're going to be cutting across live now to that conference where Prime Ministers Johnson and Modi are giving a press conference.